Welcome back to another Futures in Politics reading. This one is for Marjorie Taylor Greene, and boy, oh boy, do we have some interesting stuff to talk about here. Let's not waste any time. Let's get right into it. Be sure to click the like button and subscribe and stick around for more political readings from me. All right, let's get started. The first interesting thing to note here is that Marjorie is at the top of her reading. She's the very first card. So that's her significator right there. And then she is followed by a little story of how she came to be where she is. So Marjorie was not qualified to take the position that she took. She got where she is by nefarious means, and we'll just leave it at that for now. It may come back up as we move along. But so she ended up in a place where she feels like she really shines, and she feels like she's going to be there for a long time. She is determined to be there for a long time. It's been a blessing and a curse for her because everything is so new. I don't think this woman had any idea of what she was getting herself into when she got into Congress. So I believe that's what we're seeing in the top line there. Now, the second line, I think early on, Marjorie knew. She made a conscious decision because there are other directions she could have gone, and she probably considered them. But I think she knew early on that what she wanted would be best suited to latching on to the White House. Now, I would have to Google what year she initially came onto the scene because I don't remember. It feels like eternity. Feels like she's been there for way too long. But I think she realized pretty quickly that latching on to the White House, compromising her morals, and basically becoming the snake that she is today. And I'm not joking, like I'm serious, okay? That's literally what this is kind of saying right here. She knew that by latching on to Donald Trump and his regime, she would kind of get where she needed to go. And I think, the bear comes in here as a form of prosperity, but also protecting what she has and protecting what she's loyal to. Because she's definitely faced a lot of adversity since she chose this path, but she's remained, in constant protection of it, despite all the changes, despite the way things have shifted over the years. I believe she is also well aware of how she has risked herself, her well-being, and her reputation, and how it's been eroded over the years because of her, allegiance to the Trump administration and to Donald Trump himself. But I think she saw this as the only way to reach growth potential, because I don't think that she was very good with communication and like public communication. And, the job that she has, the position, is all about public communication, and she's not good at it. She doesn't know. Like, if you watch her in action in Congress, she's usually got someone standing next to her telling her what to say and what to do and like what procedure is. So Marjorie doesn't really know what she's doing still to this day. She's been really lucky. She's been lucky in her choices so far, but that doesn't mean that they don't come at a price. We'll get to this one in just a second. By remaining loyal to the Trump administration, by being a loyalist and being willing to do anything that she needs to do in self-interest, she has faced a lot of problems, a lot of challenges, and I think she has really kind of let orange take the wheel. And it's propelled her forward. This is literally the combination for GPS. So everything that she's really done, any move she's made, any PR that she's got, is very likely coming straight from these influences, which will say, it's not just Donald Trump himself, but it's MAGA, it's the rest of the regime and the people in that orbit. So, but it's propelled her forward. She has made, some progress moving forward, and she's obviously taken up some positions on like special counsels or whatever. And she would have never got onto those committees. I mean, there's a lot of people in Congress and stuff that don't ever make it, as far as she has, and they are better suited to the job and, actually have the qualifications for the job. But anyway, I digress. But here things get really interesting and take a very interesting turn. Absolute dead end. So what got her here is what will stop her. Okay. Now, I don't know that this is going to take too long to play out. There's something about this reading that tells me we may see the end of her as far as like, political personality goes very soon. I don't think that she'll be around a whole lot longer in the public eye. But she, the last two cards here and then her exit card, like she's got a painful ending. And then the mountain card, which could be an enemy, could just be too big of a challenge. But with the coffin card next to it, it's a challenge that she will not be able to meet. It's a challenge she will fail at. Okay. And those are her exit cards, interestingly enough. So let's backtrack just a little bit and let's talk about the heart of her reading right here. This is where things get super scary. I think before we see Marjorie Taylor Greene exit politics, we're going to see her surge through the ranks. I hate to say this. I hope I'm wrong. I think Marjorie Taylor Greene within this administration, this Trump administration, I think she's going to move up. I think that she will serve out her term this time in Congress. And then her next political move will be a jump to the White House. I don't know if maybe she'll take Kristi Noem's position. I don't know. For some reason, that is coming to mind for me. Kristi Noem's position. I guess it depends on how well Kristi Noem follows orders and obeys her masters in the regime. But I definitely see Marjorie Taylor Greene jumping straight out of where she's at now into an administration role. This is going to be terrifying. And we have the mouse card or mice, and we have the birds. Both of these cards are bad cards. So the bird card, brings anxieties and troubles. It's a small trip. And it also, can indicate like little alliances, like couples, little partnerships. The mice card, of course, is erosion. We know that that's exactly what she's going to do if she gets her 3 toes buried into the dirt outside the White House. Is she's going to be basically like a big old rat chewing holes in the walls, figuratively speaking. So, sorry, I really don't care for that woman. I think there is a sign right here. If you kind of cross the White House, she's going to fight her way in to gain access to the White House, and she's going to drop her anchor there. And the moon being like the work card or, the public recognition, I think that this is a plausible move for her at this time, because if you look in this row, we have Trump or the administration, MAGA surrounding her. So I think, and it runs into her fate line too, where we kind of see this messaging from the administration that the sun is above, it's shining down on the White House for her. So I think that there is a path forward into a position there. Now, will it be a high-ranking position or a low-ranking position? Only time will tell, I suppose. It looks like it'll be a significant role that she gets, which is terribly unfortunate for us. But here's some good news. So the 4 corners of her reading, obviously she's in one of the corners because, of course, she is. She's just like Donald Trump. This woman prioritizes herself over everything and everybody. But she has the child, the mountain, and the clouds. So that's not a very good indicator. And also paired with her fate line, that's not a good sign for her. I think, again, we're seeing a reference to the fact that all of these new situations that she keeps finding herself in, these places of power that she doesn't deserve to be, are at some point going to become too much. She's going to lose her footing. She's going to eventually be faced with a challenge that she cannot work her way out of. And so I think that is kind of what the cards are telling us as far as her future, specifically in politics, is that she's going to keep fighting her way to the top until she gets to a point where she really gets herself into some severe trouble. And again, going back to this mountain coffin card as her exit cards, not good. Not good at all. So let's take a look over on this side where she's having the most trouble with the coffin and the mountain. What are some clues we can kind of pick up? So we see that it's got something to do with public communication, some type of maybe commerce, maybe even her progression through the ranks, which would make a lot of sense because we have the Tower card right below. So it could be that her progression through the ranks is what ultimately is her demise. And if anybody's curious, I'm saying that this is a bad outcome for her because of these two cards. This is where her story ends as far as asking Lenormand about her future in politics. It comes to a very painful ending, painful and challenging. So let's see, we've got alliances. There's a burden hanging over top of the alliances that she's formed. And now she does have the bouquet card here, so this gives her an advantage in terms of, we've seen her get away with some really bad things over the past. We've recently seen her with the insider trading. She faced no repercussions for that. She has exposed national secrets. Do you guys remember a few years ago when she told everybody in Congress and on camera, which of course you could see live on like C-SPAN or whatever, she told everybody about the, what was it, like a balloon thing in Alaska? I think it was somewhere up north. She told a national secret on television and she got away with it. She didn't face any repercussions for that. So that's kind of like what this makes me think of here, where she's got the bouquet card. It's like she's getting away with a lot of stuff. She is walking a little bit of a lucky kind of charmed path, honestly. And she's able to get away with a lot of the things that she does. But eventually she will get to a point where she's too far away from this weird luck that she has, however it came about, and it won't be able to save her anymore. Like, as she moves away, and it could be here, and I'm just seeing this as I'm seeing, as I'm saying that, is that we see kind of like her being guided away from the Trump administration, and that may be a big indicator as to a time frame. So from the time that we see her possibly take a position in the White House after she serves out her term where she's at now, she may start to try to go off on her own. That will be the time period where I think she starts to lose these blessings and this getting away with things magic that she seems to have. We'll go ahead and hit the fate line here, and I think this is another clue to what we were just talking about, but we'll wrap up the video with this. So in her fate line, which for these readings I'm viewing as like the final outcome, we have finances, messages, the scythe, and the tower. So what does that mean? Well, we know that she has been doing some financial strategy. I like to call it strategy. It's just a little funny inside joke. So she's doing financial strategy, right? In self-interest. Now the moon card here, she will either be recognized for this. She will somehow, like I think she already has to some degree, but I don't think enough people have really kind of like it's not been talked about enough for it to be super relevant in this reading. But basically, her financial maneuvers, there's going to be like so many of them that eventually she won't be able to escape being called out, being recognized for it. We have the whip and the lily here, and then the moon card, which kind of gives us a sense that she's going to keep doing this until it can't be denied anymore. And then I think that's when we're going to see the news of it come out. She's going to be exposed for it. And here at the very top, exposure. And I think by her possibly taking a position in the White House, that will catapult her into, yet again, unknown territory, where she's got more eyes on her than maybe she realizes. Because she might be comfortable right now thinking like, oh, I know my limits. I know what I can get away with. But once she takes a different position, she kind of goes back to square one where she doesn't know. Do you know what I mean? So, like, basically, she's at square one. She has to relearn the ropes. She slips up. Erosion. She slips up. The news comes out. I think we'll see Marjorie Taylor Greene removed from government. And these are the most important two cards right here. And they are in her fate line. Important as far as this reading goes. She will be cut out of the government. She will be removed from government. We will see it. I think that it will happen not so far from now. I don't think that we're talking about like 10 years or anything like that. I think we're talking about as soon as she, just keep an eye on her, as soon as she takes a new position, she will slip up. She'll make a wrong move. And then that's when she'll hit this wall right here. All right, guys. Well, that's Marjorie Three Toes. That's her future in politics. It's not a bright one. It's a bright one for a little while. And then it gets kind of dark. But let me know in the comments what you think. Have you ever seen Marjorie's three toes? I'd like to know the answer to that. If anybody's seen them in that picture, I know it was photoshopped. Whatever, let me have my fun. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, hit the subscribe button, stick around for more political content. And until next time, I will see you guys later.